Good evening and welcome to Updates from SIIM with Cheryl and Jim, episode 6. I'm Cheryl.
Episode 6. And I'm Jim. And I just have to quibble with you, Cheryl. For me on the West Coast, it's still afternoon.
Oh, well. All right. Good evening, good afternoon. Hello. Episode 6, nonetheless, Jim.
Absolutely. Just welcome to everybody who's joined us here. We're really glad you're here. We've got lots to talk about, and just because we're in the middle of a pandemic, SIIM's work continues. And so we're going to talk a lot today about, what's been happening over the last several months. Obviously, almost all of our lives are in very different places, and we want to make sure that more than anything, that our members are safe, and we're grateful for our volunteers. We think about our volunteers every day. And then we're going to talk a lot about SIIM 20. SIIM 20 continues on. So we've got packed content to go through today.
But first, Jim, tell us what has happened since our last episode. What have you
so it's I've just been sitting around playing some video games, so it's been pretty calm. It's funny. Last time we were together was in October of 2019, and so not only did we have, in kind of conventional work, we had the strategic retreat where we got together for 2 days, and we really, I think, set out some exciting new directions for SIIM that I think will become more public, in the coming months. And I'm excited about that. And we're laying the groundwork for January of 2021, where we'll be doing a brand new strategic plan, a multi-year strategic plan. So we started down that path. That's kind of like we always do. And then we began to get ready for the 40th anniversary of SIIM, or at least with our meetings. Yeah, you are totally, I thought I was rocking something from the past. You totally win the retro
I went
award.
back in the archives. Yeah, and for those who don't know, you were around, right? What's this stand for?
You're going to make me, David Abrams is going to hurt me. I'm not even going to try, but Radiology Information
System
Consortium. I'm going to let you do it.
Yeah,
there we go, the risk consortium.
So 1980.
You put me on the spot there.
40 years.
Yeah, and it is amazing to think about our history and how we came together. And we're celebrating that. And there are actually, a little known fact, there are multiple different starting dates for, it's hard to know when did we actually begin, because there were a couple of different organizations that came together. But we feel like this is sort of the 40th anniversary of our annual meetings, and it's a big year. And so we're glad to celebrate that. We've been, as we were saying, we've been planning for what SIIM 40 would look like. And then obviously in March, it became very clear that this year was going to be completely different from any year that pretty much any of us have experienced. And so what we've seen is you've done a great job of taking the SIIM, the program committee, taking the SIIM staff, we've been taking the board, and shifting from having an in-person meeting to now saying, no, SIIM 20 is going to be virtual. And it's incredible to see the amount of change that we've done in just that 2 months.
Right. And to me, it's kind of a scary, exciting time, knowing that the in-person, beloved, we love being together, and yet it just didn't make sense, right? And so Austin was very genial working with us, letting us out of our contracts. We were very fortunate in that way. And then, meanwhile, working on the virtual meeting, putting it all on SIIMU, staff has been working hard along with the program committee to record all of the sessions. There'll be 4 concurrent tracks through 3 days, the same 3 days as the in-person. Just an incredible new experience that is exciting, trying to get it all on SIIMU. And thank goodness the board had the foresight to launch SIIMU, a year and a half ago now.
Yeah, I was going to say, for people that have participated in NCRAD, that we've been able to have this new online platform, and we've been able to go through the growing pains and the testing of what does it mean to get hundreds of people onto our virtual platform.
Right.
And then, I think fortuitously, we had the virtual security summit last fall, where we worked on what is it like to use this platform to do a meeting. not knowing that we'd have to move the entire annual meeting onto it, but
Right.
everything had been done to make it, it's still work, it's still scale, but we were
Yes.
ready and we had the tools available. So we're just grateful for that kind of preparation.
Right. But do you ever feel, Jim, like we're touching innovation each day? Like, because we're still changing, we're still needing to pivot, even though it's now online. Last week, for example, when someone came to you and I and said, what about refer a friend? Could you lower the rate if we brought a friend? So we worked on refer a friend initiative, launched that last week. But Jim, it still didn't feel right. Like there was still not that excitement about registration. And so on Friday, we gathered again, what else can we do? And that's when we decided, what a perfect opportunity. People from around the world can join us, right? Now that it's virtual.
Yep.
What a great opportunity to invite other imaging professionals from other image producing specialties. Why not just make it affordable? Say thank you to those healthcare workers that are helping us get through this pandemic by lowering a rate. And that's what we did.
Yeah, it's been incredible to watch the response to that. You and I were chatting beforehand about just the number of first-time SIIM attendees that we're seeing register. So
yes.
We just encourage everybody to go ahead and register for SIIM 2020. Much more accessible than ever before,
yes.
but packed with content. In fact, I think we have more CE credit than we've had in the past.
See?
Like it is. We didn't back down. We didn't say you're going to have less. We're actually having more, which I think is
more
really
for
exciting.
less. No, you're right, because all the sessions are accessible for 12 months. So you pay one fee, $100 for members, $150 non-members. Students still come for free, but you pay that one fee, Jim. You participate in the 3 days of live sessions, questions and answers, industry users. I mean, we're all coming together, and then have access to that same content for 12 months. So you get, as Paul Nagy said, you mean I can attend every session now? It's true, right? And you can get CEs for every single session, 4 tracks, all 3 days. So yeah, you get 50 some CEs, CMEs for the low price of $100 for members.
Yeah, it is amazing. And Paul is right, because all of us have had that experience where there's 2 great sessions going on at the same time.
Right.
And you try to do something like I go to one for 20 minutes and then I go to the next for 20 minutes and then I go back and forth. And now I can consume them all. That it's going to be, that's really amazing.
Yes. No, and another fun thing with the lower price, we have had one major academic center register 30 of their employees now at this low price. So maybe we can get a little competition going, right? See who can bring the most employees.
Drop the gauntlet.
Right? I think 30 is the number to beat.
That is pretty awesome. And it just kind of shows that there are a lot of people out there as informatics as a whole continues to advance in our organizations. And we see, you mentioned, there are a lot of other image producing specialties that are really focusing in this area, but people haven't worked with SIIM before. So this is a great opportunity for people to interact with us, learn about us. And, I think that hopefully one of the things that comes through, and people see this with just you and I interacting with each other, that yes, we have a bias towards action. Yes, we get to do incredibly innovative things, but most of all, we're just an incredibly collegial, environment. And we've got, great people and great friends sort of working together to try to make the world a better place and advancing the whole space of imaging informatics. Yes.
And from what I'm hearing from some of our members, never before has there been this need for imaging informatics, with telemedicine exploding and this need for technology, that one institution even said they're not even paying attention to the rules anymore because they can't get it out fast enough to the patients.
Yeah, I know at my institution, I think it's kind of been the same all over the country, if not the world. We had more change go on in 3 weeks than had happened in the previous 3 years. And I think that I like your cup. Nice.
Thank you. You noticed?
I love it, the little SIIMU platform, little swag. Yeah. But yeah, we have a change, and we've understood the informatics and the science around images. So it's an exciting time, and as more things move to online platforms and more of healthcare moves into that space, we have a lot to contribute, and so it's exciting.
Yeah. So we should mention the dates, Jim. June 24th, 25th, 26th, from 12 to 5:30 p.m. Eastern time is when you want to be available for the live.
My calendar is blocked. I will be there. I'm excited, even though it's a little bit earlier in the day. One of the things that was kind of fun was we had to, because we're all in 4 different time zones across the country, right? So we know that sometimes the meeting runs a little bit late for our East Coast friends. Sometimes it starts a little early for our West Coast friends. Yeah. But I think in the end, we're going to be able to cover all the things that we want to do. And even just, one of the things that we have to do is have our regular business meetings. So just want to, I'm going to take a couple of minutes and talk about sort of the fun things that we'll be doing there. So we will be conducting our, on June 25th at 5:45, we'll be conducting our regular business meeting, and we'll be doing the voting by mail. So starting next week, SIIM members will get a ballot, an electronic ballot, because we need to approve the prior minutes, which I know everybody's been worried about. How are we going to approve the prior minutes? I've had literally tweet storms about how we're going to do that. But probably more excitingly, we have a new slate for the board of directors that we need to get approved.
So and watch for that email.
Watch for that email. We want you to vote. It's going to be important. We've also made some changes to the bylaws. So Cheryl, do you mind if I kind of chat about that?
Please, please.
So we did, this is not very exciting work, but it's really critical because as a society, we continue to evolve, and we hadn't changed our bylaws since 2007 with the change over to the change of our name. So we made a bunch of changes, which I think memorialize both what we're doing and where we're going. So for example, we added the whole class for students. So we really formalized students as members, being clear about, we've never charged for those members, but making, how did the bylaws sort of reflect that? We've, as SIIM has gotten more professional, we've taken some of the responsibilities away from the board and put them down at the administrative level. That's important. We've changed our quorum law so that we basically set it at 100. So when we get 100 people, that's when we hit a quorum. So we'll want to make sure that we get 100 votes, in time for the
next
annual
week.
Right. We're delegating, we're getting our committees more empowered to do more work. And that sounds like a bureaucracy, but it's actually not, because what we want is the board shouldn't be managing this work. The SIIM staff does incredible stuff, but our committees are now growing and they're doing so much work. We really want them to do things, whether it's the way machine learning has expanded education and the types of challenges that they're doing, but also, how finance and administration is running, our dues structure and our core financial pieces. One of the things that we got a little bit harder about is instead of giving you multiple 90-day warning periods, if you don't pay your dues, you get one, right? So it kind of like making sure that people pay their dues. And we've let the College of SIIM Fellows have more autonomy to decide how they announce their fellows and how they do their work. That doesn't need to be baked into our bylaws. So you can read all of the changes on the SIIM website. So please take a look at those. If you have questions, reach out to either Cheryl or myself. We'd love to talk about it. They're fairly straightforward. The board endorsed them. We actually had our legal counsel go through that, and she's endorsed them. So we've got them out for review, and any of our members can review those and make questions to us.
Yes. Yeah, and because we've taken care of some of that business ahead of time for the annual business meeting, we'll have more time too for the awards presentation, which I'm excited about this year with our new awards program. Elizabeth Kupensky and her committees put together. So excited about that. And that will be June 25th, as you mentioned, from 5:45 to 7:30 p.m. So watch for more information on the business meeting and awards presentations. But speaking of
and then
pandemics,
the main part of it. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was going to
go for it.
Pivot to JDI, our journal, digital imaging, and the upcoming special issue on pandemics.
Right. So a bunch of things going on at JDI. So we have been fortunate to have Janice Honeymoon Buck's leadership for a number of years, and then Dr. David Abram has taken over and has been they've been in a transition period, and one of David's early acts has been to say, let's have an issue of JDI focused on pandemics. So we're still accepting abstracts for that. So just a call out to our members, if you've got either scientific material or period pieces about pandemics. Obviously, COVID is high on everybody's mind, but there have been a number of pandemics, throughout the last 100 years. And so we're excited about that issue. I think it's in August, right? So the issue comes out in August. It's the August issue. Trying to get abstracts by mid-June.
Yes.
Do we have a date?
June 20th.
June 20th.
And we need to mention our guest editor for that issue too, Ross Felice.
So
Very
Ross,
excited.
I love Ross. He and I have done a couple of sessions together. He was very involved in the security summit that we did last fall.
Yes.
And just really grateful for his leadership. And Ross, I know that you're going to do a great job as the guest editor. Thanks for serving in that role.
Absolutely. Sorry, I cut you off, Jim. You were going to say something.
Well, I just, remember that we talked about the 4 sessions, we talked about the CME, but remember, we're a scientific society, right? So we still have, I think, over nearly 70 abstract presentations already scheduled for SIIM. So that being able to, one of the things that was really important about why we wanted to continue to have this meeting, even though it was clear we can't do it online, is yes, it's great to have the education piece, and that's one of the reasons why we're here. But we're also here to advance the profession, the science of imaging informatics, and so the chance to have those abstracts presented really is important. So I'm really grateful that we could find a way to make that happen.
Yes, and our 4 overarching themes, if you will, running through the virtual meeting that's on SIMU: enterprise imaging, AI, machine learning, professional development, and the 4th is crisis management and looking at COVID-19. So I think with those 4 tracks, there's something for everyone, right?
Absolutely. And then, other highlights for me that I'm really looking forward to, Dr. Elizabeth Kropinski's talk.
Yes.
And reminding us of the importance of the user. Yep, the Dwyer lecture. I mean, that's going to be, we're still proceeding ahead there. So this is going to be, it's going to be very different, but it's going to be great. And just amazed at what you guys have been able to put together.
Same great content, just through a different platform. But again, thank goodness for SIMU.
Well, we have a couple of other things that we need to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about SIIM. So not only has SIIM, the annual meeting moved online, but our SIIM conference has moved as well. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So the conference on machine intelligence and medical imaging, held annually. This will be the 5th annual, September 13th and 14th. Again, the same days, but online on SIMU. The program chairs, again, just felt, given the environment we're in now, better to make that call here from the beginning, and maybe others that couldn't have been there in person now will be able to submit abstracts and participate through the virtual meeting. The other nice thing about, or exciting thing about SIIM is the fact that this year it's being co-sponsored by AAPM, the American Association of Physicists in Medicine. So we're very excited for their partnership, and they have a representative now participating on the program committee too. So very exciting. Call for abstracts has opened. July 6th is the deadline for the SIIM abstracts.
And we've talked a couple of times about how, the amount of changes going on in our culture, in our world are at times scary, but it's heartening to see how we're able to keep these really critical functions going. We've obviously moved into a virtual platform, but we're continuing to, offer the same things to our members that we've always had. So it's exciting to see that kind of innovation, that kind of capability that we've been able to carry out.
Yeah, no, and like you said, our value bias towards action. We keep pivoting every time we need to.
Well, Cheryl, maybe we kind of start to close things out, and do you mind we get a little bit nostalgic and we walk down memory lane a bit?
Go for it.
So it's been 2 years that I've been chair This is our 6th. It is unbelievable. I know I don't look a day over 18 months, being in chair.
That's right.
But we've had so many, like, if you think back, our first one of these was back in November of 2018.
Right.
We did it in the SIIM office, but we've had a number of different locations. So you remember filming in your living room? That was fun.
Yes, very fun.
And last year at the SIIM annual meeting, we were on location outdoors in Denver.
At the Gaylord, sitting by that hot fire pit with the snow-capped mountains, fire and ice going on. That was beautiful. That was
really fun.
Yeah.
And so it feels appropriate that maybe for our last updates from SIIM with Cheryl and Jim that we got to do a new format. So maybe virtual was in the cards, our destiny all along.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a great 2 years, Jim. Wow. How lucky
it's been a ton of fun. And for you, when you and I started, you had just begun. You were in your first 6 months with SIIM.
Yeah.
And
I was a newbie.
now you were a total newbie, and now you're a total pro. I'm going to have so much fun kind of watching you and Mark kind of continue to evolve this organization. And I've been joking online. I was joking on Twitter that I've been watching the David Letterman and Jay Leno kind of goodbye show.
Yes.
So I just as a tribute to my friend Rasu, I had to just put a new virtual background. This is what I'll be going for now that I'm in my retirement. Now that you can put me out to pasture, I've got to work on the beard here.
Too funny. I love it, Jim. Well, thank you for your volunteer hours. As you know, my profession as association execs, we couldn't exist without the volunteer hours of our wonderful members. So thank you.
And again, we said this at the beginning, but to all of you all, thank you for what you're doing for our profession. We hope you're staying safe. We know that these are challenging times, but these are times that we will get through. And this society, our friends, are what kind of hold us together through these challenges. So I encourage you, please register for the meeting, come out, be a part of the live sessions. We'll have social media streams going on. You can certainly continue to collect your CEs for the next 12 months after that. Yeah. But we're not going to let a pandemic get in the way of what SIIM's critical mission is for our members. And so thank you all very much for making that happen.